Chains rattle broken, now we rise. Flag in my hand, stars burn the skies. Truth ain't dead, though the liars try. They scream loud, but the words all die. Guys watching hands, raise to the throne. Freedom ain't free, blood built this home. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Red, white, blue, we bleed to survive. God bless the brave who fight and strive. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Land of the free, ain't bending the knee. Truth in my veins, it's all I see. Patriots roar, no fear in the fight. Continue freedom, stand in the light.
Okay, here we are again. Why don't you guys down in the comments tell me what you really think about this topic? Wow. Okay, Junior and Aaron, I see both your comments here. So yeah, we're going to talk about Brandon Tatum tonight. I've got a video. Shout out, by the way, to Rage Bronson, who brought. I watched his video on this. Had no idea that this had been posted, and he pulled it out. And we're going to talk about it tonight, as well as Donald Trump being right about Iran. Very interesting. Hey, Natalie, congratulations. Finally got a notification for a live video. Woohoo. There you go. You made it to a live stream. Welcome aboard. Yeah, people get don't always get the comments, and that's a bummer. But that's part of YouTube. And speaking of which, I'm going to bring up two things before I start playing this video. I got a copyright strike from Sean Ryan. I see this as a boo-hoo sort of situation. When they don't like people using their content. There was, whatever that is, 45 seconds or so from 3:27 to 4:15 of my last video, highlighting that one. And they said, no, we don't want people using our content. Oh, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. So I got a copyright strike for that. Thought it was funny. I'm going to keep talking about it. That's fine. Copyright strike. I guess so a certain number of them, and they'll stop letting you post and live stream. That's a bummer. All right, Smiles, you showed up in time as well. So there you go. See, I leave you guys guessing. This is why you're the most patient audience on the internet, because I never know exactly when I'm going to live stream. I try to be consistent, but it doesn't always happen. So yes, you finally made it to one. You're on time. Welcome aboard. Better late than never. I do have to play or show one other clip. This was pretty ruthless. You guys let me know down in the comments what you think about this. This was Donald Trump's post about Robert Mueller dying. He said, Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. I thought this is a bit aggressive. I thought it was unnecessary. Now, I do agree that Donald Trump is, he's got a lot of reasons to be frustrated. The whole Russia thing, that was on Mueller, but come on, show a little bit of grace, sir. Please. This doesn't help us. Okay, let's get into the main topic for tonight. And after we talk about this Brandon Tatum merch deal, grace and peace, Jay Witt, the great Jay Witt, down in the comment section. Hey, I saw I've seen some of your video on it. I saw Rage Bronson talking about it. So shout out to you guys. You posted something actually that I'm going to share here at the end of it, which was Rage Bronson's response to this whole debacle. But I'm going to give everybody my thoughts on it. Y'all let me know what you think. And go subscribe, by the way, to Jay Witt. Go subscribe to Rage Bronson. Doesn't cost you a thing, and you're going to get some good data and some good people out there. This is what I love doing. I love the crosstalk between other podcasts, because we've got some really amazing content creators out there. And we don't have millions. We will one day, but that doesn't mean that our opinions aren't, and our view on things isn't valuable. It is. It absolutely is. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this video. I'm going to play it, and we'll stop along the way.
Of it is that my company, Pure Choice Apparel, runs Candace's store.
Right.
And we've been doing for several years, and we have a contract with Candace Owens.
Right.
Before Charlie died and any of this stuff ever happened.
Yep.
So we have a contract with her. And I don't take an income from the business. I I hired somebody to run that business. I just own the business. I'm not in the creative meetings unless it's a high tier thing. Like I've had to meet. And people got to realize how this business works, and it is a business. Candace Owens is an influential person. She's not in the meetings, and I'm not in the meetings. People come together to come up with graphic designs and stuff like that. My people talk to her people.
Okay.
If there's a higher priority, I don't go to Candace, I go to her husband, who manages this stuff. So him and I will have a conversation about this stuff. All of the nuance and different things like that, I don't participate in.
I'm going to stop right here. All of that is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. He's describing a business and using it kind of as a cop-out for why he's doing this. And I will start right up front and say, if he wants to sell her merch, I have zero problem with that. I have no problem with him selling her merch. Do it. But when you have a show on the side, and that show on the side is taking some moral stance on these podcast wars and on the Israel everything debate and all of that, and this guy, by the way, is a staunch, or at least says that he is a staunch Zionist. There's a pretty serious conflict of interest here. So if you're in it just for the money, go for it. By all means, I have zero problem with it. But then you take a moral stance on the other side and you talk about the evil and the demonic and the this and the that, and yet you're profiting off that very same thing. So this whole intro to this is him describing the structure of that's like any business. He owns it. He owns the business. He says, I'm not taking a salary. Well, he's getting money from the business. I would venture to say that's just a lie. He's getting money you don't invest in a business, hire employees, buy the screen printers, buy all or if he's doing direct to garment, whatever, he buys all the printers, he invests all that money. He's making money off of this.
I'm a CEO. I'm an owner of that company. I'm not even really the CEO.
Yeah.
I don't really do anything with that company. But we do manage her stuff. So now we're in a predicament because, and I'm not going to not do her stuff. I'm just saying we're in a predicament with people's opinion because we were doing that. Candace has been my friend. Candace has been loyal. And Candace entrusted us to do her stuff before all this ever happened. And when Turning Point or any of these other people didn't work with us at all, they don't do merch with me. We down the street. We're in the same city.
And you never did merch.
They never did merch with me. They don't do merch with me, and that's their choice, and that's fine.
So what difference does it make? Why even bring that up? That TPUSA doesn't buy merch or doesn't run their merch through his printing company? Okay. What difference does it make? It's the content that is the topic here, not whether it's a conflict because TPUSA is also getting stuff printed with him. He's making an independent choice to print Candace Owens' stuff, which he is more than free to do. But on the other end, he's got a whole show with millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of followers where he's saying that all this stuff is evil, this stuff is bad, this stuff is this. He's taking a moral stance on it, and he's willing to sacrifice it for the money.
Candace and I had a relationship a long time ago, and we've been doing business together. So now she does something and make a shirt that I don't agree with.
And what I mean,
it was a shirt,
Daddy's Home,
Shabbat Shalom. Like, I don't watch her show, but I think I seen a clip that kind of sounded like that was kind of a sneak diss to Candace, to Charlie.
Yeah,
and
talk
Erica.
me through why you think that's offensive, because I may not,
let me finish the business
totally,
side of
absolutely.
it. I'm not counseling folk because I disagree with things they do, because it's more to a business than just me and somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Candace has been very successful with her merch stuff for years.
Yeah.
And we have hired people specifically to address the needs of her store.
Okay, he's making the case now that this is so big. It's so big that people are going to lose their jobs if he nixes Candace Owens' merch line. Maybe he, this is when I first listened to this is my second time listening through this. Maybe he's hitched his wagon or he's put all of his eggs in a pretty crazy basket. I think that's the thing. Candace Owens and her merch is so big that jobs, like this business is riding on the success of her merch line. So it's not this. This also got me thinking about the bots. You know, we always say bots. It's bots, 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 and it is. There's a lot of bots in her viewership, but bots don't buy T-shirts. Bots don't buy merch. They don't buy tumblers and T-shirts and hats and bags and all that other stuff. So he is in a very difficult situation because presumably he thought that Candace Owens was a pretty safe bet. He built a business around that, hired people to handle all of her merch orders, not bots, merch orders. I don't know the numbers, presumably millions. If you're going to hire multiple people, it takes a lot of money because the upkeep for the business, there's hidden costs in every single business. And he's got to, a screen printer breaks down or a direct to garment printer breaks down. He's got to replace that. He's got to run the online store. They've got to fulfill the orders, buy the boxes, buy the bags, hire a bunch of people to do that. You're talking about millions of dollars. So there's millions of dollars in merch, presumably changing hands. And he's hitched a lot of this to that one crazy wagon. It's the paddy wagon with the padded room in the back. That's what he has hitched his merch store to. So he's like, well, I'm not going to stop selling it. And okay, let's keep going.
It's no way in the world I'm going to get upset because I don't agree with something she did and cancel her store and put these people out of work. That's not going to happen.
Because she has the right to do.
She can do whatever she want to do, man. I don't want to get into a business of suppressing people's speech and doing cancel culture.
Right.
If somebody else don't like what she doing, well, come do business with me and make the shirt you like. I don't believe in none of that. So I don't like the shirt.
Yeah.
Because I see it as a sneak diss.
Sure.
Now, this is why people are thinking it's a sneak diss, because Charlie Kirk, and this is very clear, unless you're retarded. Charlie Kirk celebrated Shabbat. Charlie Kirk wrote a book about Shabbat.
Okay.
Endorsed or dedicated to Dennis Prager, who's a Jew. And I did Shabbat with Dennis Prager and his family one time.
Can you explain for those who may not know what Shabbat is?
It's a Sabbath. Like in the Bible, it's in the Ten Commandments.
It's like Saturday.
It's Saturday it's the day of rest. Like, because God made the world in 7 days or 6 days and he rested on the seventh.
Yeah.
So historically, that 7th day of rest is on Saturday. So Jewish belief and history, Jesus and everybody else that we know in the Bible celebrate or observe the Sabbath.
Okay.
It's in the Ten Commandments, and it's also something that every historical Jew has done. And so Christians decide to do something different, which I don't agree with what Christians do. I think that Christians should observe the Sabbath. Now, I don't, but I think I might start because it makes biblical sense.
Okay.
But anyway, Charlie wrote a book about it because that's what he believed. And after he died, obviously the book come out. Erica promoted the book for him and did all the tours that he's supposed to do in his place because he's dead, so he couldn't do them.
Mm-hmm.
So Candace seems to have made a video mocking. I don't watch her stuff, so I just see clips every now and again. I think she made a video mocking Erica, I think insinuating that Erica is like putting on about Charlie's love for Israel and stuff.
Okay.
When she's not putting on, he wrote a book about it.
Right.
And so I saw a clip that Candace did somewhere where she says, Daddy's Shabbat Shalom, Daddy's home. And she was kind of like making fun of that situation as if Erica was lying about Charlie putting his phone away at night when he come home on Saturdays and dedicating himself to the family. I don't like that. I don't think that makes sense for Candace to do that. But
so we just, by the way, witnessed Brandon Tatum going absolutely yard. I'm just going nuts about Joe Kent and his recent resignation, calling him a coward, going crazy about it. He's done multiple videos. That's kind of his brand, is that he goes out and just whoops and hollers about anything and everything. He whoops and hollers about the people that don't like Israel, the people that don't support Israel, blah, 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 blah. And now here he is. He's, in my humble opinion, downplaying the worst offender of all of this, who just happens to be the person who's making him a lot of money on merch. Does that not seem hypocritical to anybody else? Again, he's absolutely free to do it. If he wants to do business with her, fine. But you can't then go onto your podcast and talk about other people's moral responsibilities in our politics. Moral responsibilities here. This is satanic, this is evil, this is terrible, these people are demonic, these people are this, that, and the other. But on the other hand, I'm going to sell the merch for the number one offender. That's hypocritical. I'm sorry, Brandon. That is hypocritical. I get it. There's people that might lose their jobs. Maybe a better business model is to do, there's a company called TriStar Apparel. And there's a guy in East Tennessee. I'm not going to get into the politics of it or anything, but he's just a good old boy in East Tennessee who handles merch for podcasters, for YouTube shows, YouTube channels. And he handles their merch. He does the screen printing, and it's the same thing Brandon Tatum's doing, but he's doing it for a particular type of person. Maybe his model would be more successful if he spread the love. Instead of saying, hey, we're buddies, I'm just going to say, I'm going to sell your merch. I'll sell your merch. And then all of a sudden she turns into a nut job, and he says, well, I'm making a couple $100,000 or I'm making $1 million a year in merch. I'm going to have to fire people. Well, let's just not talk about it. Let's push it to the side. And now he's kind of been forced to talk about it. But it makes him look like an absolute hypocrite. And most of this conversation, by the way, it's I don't want to say obfuscating, but it's not pertinent to the underlying issue, which is you say that the people on Candace Owens' side are wrong, that they are bad, that they are demonic, that they are, you pick your title, and yet you're going to sell the merch for the lady. Weird? It is to me.
I think that's where the shirt came from. And I don't manage any of that stuff. So I didn't even know that shirt is even something that was developed until I saw it on her page and then somebody was talking about it. But yeah, our company does, our company amongst a ton of other influencers, we do their merch. And I'm not going to stop doing Candace Owens merch.
Right.
I'm just not. That's just how it is, man. And it's business at the end of the day.
So, I mean, ultimately, you're thinking of it from, she has the freedom to do exactly what she wants.
I gotta be consistent, bro. I believe in the freedom of speech and expression. I can't be a hypocrite and say I believe in freedom of speech and expression, except when it offends me, because I don't like when people do that to me, man. I got a business, and I don't think I should be blackballed out of the industry because of my political beliefs or something I've said on the internet.
Yeah.
Is the product good or not?
Yep.
Do you have a contract to do a business or not? People act like they want me to break my contract. I mean, we want to break my contract. What are we going to do? What is getting rid of her merch look like? In mid-print, we're just going to not print the stuff that people may have paid for and purchased? That's a lawsuit.
That you're legally bound to.
You're legally bound through documents, which I'm fine because I agreed to them and they're fair.
Yeah.
And then also there are people who are purchasing products that what are we going to do? Not fulfill the product? And then therefore people are not getting the product that they paid for. And then therefore lawsuits happen. There's no need.
Well, you're not going to get a lawsuit for something not being delivered. It's a refund. But I get the point here. This I understand. He's got a contract. I don't know if it's a year-long, 2-year, 5-year, 10-year contract. Yeah, you got to fulfill your contract. Like, that's just it. That's legally binding. You got to do it. But does that mean that you're going to keep doing it forever and ever and ever? Again, more than welcome to. But this should now be a topic, in my opinion, because he's, it is a challenging situation because a business is a business. I don't believe in cancellation of people because, or the, cancel culture, whatever. But businesses, just like anything else, how that business is conducted, who you're doing business with, that does speak to there's a moral direction in any organization. And in his t-shirt company, which is very much political. It's in some cases faith-based, I guess, because he talks about his faith and all that sort of stuff. There is a moral direction for the company. And, that's a decision he's got to make, but he's got to be willing to stand in the breach or stand, out front and take all the proverbial gunslinging that's going to go down when people like myself come out and say, you're being a hypocrite, dude. You're being a hypocrite. There's a million places that she could get her merch printed. We are in a good versus evil fight. At least a lot of us see it that way. And when you are willing to side with something that you yourself have said is demonic, evil, bad, and you say, well, I can't, I'm going to keep doing it. Well, then money most definitely trumps morals in that situation. I don't think he should be taking any moral stances on his podcast anymore because business is business, right? I know what I would do If I had a relatively small print company, and somebody wanted me to print a bunch of, this is your art. It's the birthday cakes for gay weddings and all that all over again. This is your art. You can't be mandated to print those sorts of things. He's under contract. Got it. You could say, yeah, the stuff that's being printed or the stuff that this is funding, I have an issue with it. I speak about it on my podcast all the time. I don't think we're going to continue forward because it's not a great match for the brand that I have built. That would be an easy response. But to say, at the very core of my being, according to what I say on my show, I disagree with it to the absolute minute fibers of my being, disagree with it, but I'm going to keep printing it because, it's money after all.
Need to do none of that stuff because people have the freedom to say and do whatever they want to do. And because it's an impartial business operation, I don't discriminate against people. I really don't.
How many BLM t-shirts does he print? Just curious. Like if it's completely impartial, how many BLM t-shirts? How many F Ice t-shirts? How many of that maybe somebody that watches this who disagrees with me. I haven't looked at the chat here in just a minute, and I'm going to. Maybe if you disagree with me, hop on and design a t-shirt, go send it into his company. See how many of them he'll print. F Ice, Trump's the devil, whatever. Pick your poison. No, you are impartial, Brandon. You you print conservative t-shirts. I'd be interested to know how many lefty t-shirts. Are you making merch for the Young Turks? Something tells me you wouldn't.
And especially not people with their opinions. I can disagree with your opinion.
Yeah.
But that is your product, that's your store, and then you have to deal with that. And if somebody don't like it or whatever, you can come make a shirt to disagree with that, and I'll sell, and we'll print your shirt.
So
maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'm going to send it and say, hey, these are the t-shirts I'm going to print. So you guys in the chat, let me see. What is, oh boy, lots of chats. My goodness. Oh, super chat. We got a super chat. MT, did you hear about Joe Kent vetted Mitch Snow for? No, I did not hear that. Wow. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. MTX been watching this channel for a minute. I appreciate you. No, I did not hear that Joe Kent vetted Mitch Snow for Candace. Wow. The stars are aligning on all that. We're going to talk about Iran here in a minute. But look, Smiles, I saw that now. It was, let's see. Let me see what you guys are saying down here. Cantifa sucks. He would probably print that one. That's kind of, that kind of closely aligns. Let's see. Megyn Kelly, putting the American-Israeli flag together is wrong. Also, Megyn Kelly merged an American and Iranian Islamic flag with American flag. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. This is kind of it's the long-term thing. I feel like it's rage porn is what a lot of, I don't even know if I'm will or allowed to use the P word on YouTube, but the rage content is very, very real when it comes to these online personalities, and people get on and that's all they do is just sit and yell and whoop and holler. And it's become mindless content. That's why I like finding, honestly, there's so many creators out here that really want to sit down and have conversations. I mentioned a few, that, and again, the ones that I'm follow the most closely, Gary from Paramount Tactical and Jay Witt and Rage Bronson, some of the bigger podcasts out there. I love listening to Konstantin Kisin, people that are out here having actual conversations and it's not just rage bait. But Brandon Tatum kind of built his reputation on, it was the rage bait. It was the, and I don't want to say that there's absolutely no substance to what Brandon Tatum has done over the years. There has been some. But when it comes to a divisive political environment like we have right now over on our side of the aisle, we kind of have to, like, for you all, for the viewers, it's our responsibility to let you know where we stand on a lot of things. And I take it as a responsibility Other people don't. They're looking to kind of skirt around this and skirt around that. They want to be non-committal. Michael Knowles has been very non-committal. Well, and I like Michael Knowles. I like a lot of, the way he debates. He's sharp. He's he's obviously been very successful. He's worked his way up, but he's non-committal on some pretty big issues. And they write it off as though it doesn't matter, but it kind of does, because just like Brandon Tatum is making hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on merch from someone who is trying to break apart the very movement that his show says he wants to hold together. Yeah, you kind of have to start picking sides a little bit. Unfortunately, we're separating the wheat from the chaff. So when people make blunders like this, and he could come back and correct it at some point, and maybe he won't. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. But the money grab in the social media space is pretty ridiculous. Candace Owens is the number one offender, one of the number one offenders for this. And Tucker Carlson, he did a money grab when it came to Joe Kent. Joe Kent resigns. What does he do? He puts the interview that everybody wanted to see behind a paywall. You got to pay me $10 if you want to get the truth, right? It's the same thing Candace Owens does. Join us next week. Oh, sponsored by whatever. It's a money grab. So I'm going to play this clip. This was posted by Jay Witt, and it was it was reposted by Jay Witt, originally posted by Rage Bronson. And I thought this was, I found it hysterical that he did this. It was good. Listen to this.
Not to mention, on the flip side of that, Candace Owens is making money for a Zionist. So that goes to show how principled Candace Owens is when it comes to, we got to stop supporting the Zionist movement. Yeah? How come you haven't stopped doing business with Brandon Tatum then, Candace? Brandon Tatum's a Zionist. Comes right out and says it. Even refers to himself as a black Zionist. And here you are, Candace. Here you are, helping Brandon Tatum make money. Wild. They're so principled, guys. They're so principled. Yeah, okay.
He's right.
Oh, I love it. That was a good one. That was a really good one. But it's true. It's making money coming and going. Meanwhile, we're all at each other's throats. We're trying to figure out who to trust, who not to trust. And they just printing that money, just making it rain. Okay, let's go to, let's see. Let me look at some more comments here. Let's see, Sharon. Okay, apparently Sharon nailed it. What did Sharon say? Lost all respect for him. What's next? Well, I mean, he would say that he opposes that. Would he print it if he's a free speech absolutist? I mean, assumptions are no, he wouldn't. Let's see. Did she really? Did she? Oh, by the way, the Chuck Norris, that was wow, what a loss. Oh, I was so bummed about that. I went back and started reading Chuck Norris jokes, and there were some people. In fact, I think PBD, I saw they posted a short on X, and they were talking about the Chuck Norris jokes I think they started in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the early 2000s. Maybe that's when it was. It's Chuck Norris when he does a push-up isn't pushing himself up. He's pushing the earth down. Chuck Norris's tears cure cancer. Too bad Chuck Norris never cries. I mean, it was the early meme culture. It wasn't a meme, but my goodness, they were all over the internet. What a great guy. And he was a huge fan of Trump, by the way. Let's see. Thank you for a little overwhelmed. Thank you. Smiles. Junior Cole, you're welcome, friend. That's about it. Oh, there you go. Congratulations. Congratulations, Smiles. My goodness. And you said it's your fourth? Wow. Congratulations to you and your family. God bless you guys. God bless you guys. Okay, let's talk about Iran. Sorry, moving on from yes, he was. There's videos of him. There was actually a video of him with Benjamin Netanyahu, and Benjamin Netanyahu cracked a joke, and he said, well, you can go ahead and tell all the security to leave, my security detail to leave, because Chuck Norris is here. It was pretty funny. Okay, so let's get to this Iran situation. As it turns out, where we were told by Joe Kent and Tucker Carlson and la-di-da-di everybody, hey, you know what? Iran said that they didn't have the ballistic missiles. You know, they said, no, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. Here we go. Let's play it, actually. Play it for everybody. NBC, here we go.
Intentionally kept the range of our missiles below 2,000 kilometers. So we don't have that capability, and we don't want to do that because we don't have any hostility against, the United States people or Europeans or whatsoever. The intention.
Okay, so we limited it. They said, this is what they said, and everybody said, believe them. Believe them. Well, they struck Diego Garcia, launched ballistic missiles towards Diego Garcia, which is 4,000 kilometers away, meaning they can range a lot of places in Europe. Places that they can't range are, let's see. So they can hit Rome, Athens, Cairo, Southern Europe. London and Paris are just slightly out of range. So it turns out, as we were told, that Israel said that Iran had all these things, and they were just lying to us in order to whatever this expansionist thing that the anti-Israel people say, or the Israel haters say. Turns out they can range a lot of things. Now we don't have to worry about Russia. They're not going to go after. They're not going to be launching anything in that direction. Anybody who's friendly with Russia. But if they can send missiles, ballistic missiles, one failed and one was shot down. But if they can range Diego Garcia, maybe the threat was a little bit bigger than all the anti-Trumpers, than the MTGs and other people like to believe. I thought that was, my goodness. This is, here we go. Here's another map. I'll pull this one up. This is what it looks like. 4,000 kilometers. So the UK is just slightly, or Ireland, I guess, is just slightly outside of their ballistic missile range. Somebody made the point that this isn't an accident that they accidentally reached that far, that, it was a fluke that a 2,000 kilometer, a missile with a 2,000 kilometer range could reach 4,000 kilometers. No, absolutely not. And, this is Tom Cotton to the CIA Director Radcliffe. I'm going to play this one. Here we go. Let's pull this up.
Address one specific threat, the threat of an intercontinental missile, which is really just the combination of two technologies, one thrust to get something into space and a reentry vehicle to get it back to Earth. Iran has always had a space launch program, which is flimsy cover for the first part of that intercontinental missile program. I haven't seen any Iranian astronauts in space lately. And second, they have medium-range ballistic missiles, which already have a reentry vehicle. So if you crudely married those two technologies together, I've heard some analysts say that Iran could have had a functioning intercontinental missile to threaten the United States in as few as 6 months. Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, you're right to be concerned about Iran's development of longer-range ballistic missiles, Senator. If Iran were allowed to develop at the IRBM ranges, which is 3,000 kilometers, it would threaten most of Europe. And yes, as you mentioned, we know that Iran is gaining experience in these larger, more powerful booster technologies through its so-called space launch vehicle program. If left unimpeded, yes, Senator, they would have the ability to range missiles to the continental U.S. It's one of the reasons why degrading Iran's missile production capabilities that is taking place right now in Operation Epic Fury is so important to our national security.
Thank you. Vice.
Wow. Now, again, I'm going to reference somebody else in other podcasts, and I'm going to use his name again, Rage Bronson. I listened to one of his, and he said, "This is such a weird." I might be paraphrasing, so if you're watching, and I got this wrong, I'm sorry, but Like, this is the situation we're in. Who are we going to trust? Are we going to, we're getting information from two different places, and now what? We're supposed to trust the CIA? Like, it's a difficult situation for us as the American people, specifically the American people who have an inherent distrust for a powerful federal government. We're now relying on data from the CIA, and we're kind of like, well, we have to kind of trust them, I guess, even though that goes against the very fiber of our being. But in this instance, it was what we've been told was accurate, that intermediate range ballistic missiles are in the possession of Iran, and they tried to use them against Diego Garcia. So it's kind of acting like a warning. And I think that when you look at the attacks that are going on in other Middle Eastern, other Gulf states or nations, and they're hitting la-di-da-di everybody. They blew up the oil refinery in Qatar. They're hitting, they tried to hit Oman. They've hit, all over the Middle East. They launched one at Turkey, of all people, in Saudi Arabia. They are trying to create as much destruction, chaos, and havoc as they possibly can in order to pressure the rest of the world. When gas prices are going through the roof in Europe and across the globe, because all the Gulf states that are the major producers of oil and liquid natural gas and so on and so forth, that the supply becomes disrupted, the prices go through the roof. That creates political pressure on all of these countries, and they want them to feel the pain so that the people will start pressuring the politicians to get America out of the conflict in general. That's why they're doing it, in my humble opinion. And I think most people would probably agree with that, but that's what they're trying to do. They can't beat us militarily, but if they can do it with pressure through rising costs, which everything rises with the cost of gasoline, with the cost of oil, that's the only card that they have left to play. And we have to have a little bit of intestinal fortitude and say, yeah, it's going to suck for a minute, but the long-term gains they're there. There is potential for it. I think it also ramps up the pressure on Donald Trump because, I said it, I don't want a forever war, first off. But second off, this is, he's got to end this thing well. He's got to end this thing quickly. Now, there's already posts. Let me see if I can find them. I didn't pull them up before the show. Well, actually, look at that. I pulled it up and it was right here. This was Trump today. And he's basically, I guess, greasing the skids to start telling people, hey, this conflict is going to wind down.
I was calling for a ceasefire in the Middle East and to reopen dialogue. What do you say to folks?
Well, look, we can have dialogue, but I don't want to do a ceasefire. You don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have any equipment. They don't have any spotters. They don't have anti-aircraft. They don't have radar. And their leaders have all been killed at every level. We're not looking to do that.
So he's saying, look, there was a post earlier that wasn't exactly the one, but he was saying we're going to wind this thing down. Like, we're ready. We're absolutely wrecking shop. But no, we don't want a ceasefire. You're not going to call for a ceasefire when you're in the middle of obliterating their military and all their power. Now, I have to be as honest as I possibly can with you all. I am really ticked off about the situation with Israel striking the Iranian oil field. And the reason I'm ticked off about that is that this country, if whoever it is, if it's the Prince Pahlavi or whoever that comes in to pick up the torch and carry it forward for Iran, they need an economy, and the only thing they've got in their economy is that oil. All they got is the oil, right? You got to get that. You have those oil fields have to be pumping out, barrels upon barrels, millions of barrels of oil, and Israel struck the largest oil field in the world. And that's going to be a long-term impact for the people of Iran. That doesn't help us when it comes to negotiations after this starts to end. After this starts winding down. That was a stupid move on their part. But I still think it was a power move for Donald Trump to come out and say, we had nothing to do with this. Qatar didn't have anything to do with this. And then make Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu got on he got online. Well, he made a video post, and he said, "This was our attack. The U.S. had nothing to do with it, and we're not going to do it again." It was like Daddy, whooped a kid for beating up his little brother or whatever, and made the kid apologize. That's what Donald Trump did to Israel. But they still want us to believe that Israel's leading him around by a nose ring. They got Donald Trump on a leash, leading him around. Nonsense. But I am ticked off that they did that, because as little breakage as possible is what we need. I say as little breakage of infrastructure. Let me be very specific about that, because the breakage, we need to absolutely obliterate their ballistic missiles, their military, all the things that can threaten not just us, but other countries in the region. All of that needs to be destroyed. But when it comes to the infrastructure, as little breakage as possible, so that whoever takes over has a functioning infrastructure to ramp back up to help reintroduce stability to the region or to the country. Hope that makes sense. Let's see. The RGC, the Muslim Brotherhood. Yeah. This is the problem with any of these conflicts, the power vacuums. We do create power vacuums. I was having a conversation, I think it was with my dad the other day, and it might have been today. I don't know. I've lost track of time. I've been working so much. But nonetheless, we were having a conversation. I said that the power vacuums, we know those to be just horrible. And when Saddam in Iraq, there was a power vacuum after we took out Saddam, and it got filled with, that and de-Baathification. We took out the educated Sunni elites who were able to run a government. They knew, more or less, they were the ones that you would want to step in if you could, I guess, deprogram them a bit to help run things. We took all of them out, and the only people that were left were the ones that could jump in and seize power, seize a little bit of influence. And they were just fleecing the American taxpayers when we were doing this whole nation building nonsense in Iraq. So the power vacuum is going to get filled by somebody. It's usually by people who have arms, people who have some influence. And this is why the crazies like, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, these are organized entities that can more easily step in because they got some sort of a power structure. They can step in and take over after we disrupt something. All of that exists to some degree in Iran. So how the transition into a new government, it's got to be done very well. We don't have a great track record of doing that. But just like I didn't think striking the nuclear facilities was a good idea, because it could have possibly gotten us into a longer conflict. Donald Trump did it, and it didn't get us into a longer conflict. This is a separate issue. It's kind of dovetailing off the same thing. But it was taking advantage of a weak point, and I'm still trusting Donald Trump not to get us into a forever war, because I don't want that. You guys don't want that. We're of the younger folks that are watching this. We are of the 9/11 generation, and being in a war for 20 years sucks. Donald Trump doesn't like it either, which is why I think we're already, for as short as this has been, he's already talking about ramping it down because we're having the desired impacts. Let's see. Over here in the comments in the chat. Let's see. And have high hopes for him. He is or isn't doing. Yeah, this is kind of going back to what we were talking about before. But yeah, I've always been a fan of the guy, but not right now. Not right now. Separating the wheat from the chaff. That's what it is. Let's pull up. Let's see. This is a post made by. Well, if it'll pull up. This is a recent interview that Tucker Carlson did. It was posted by the Vigilant Fox, and around this whole Iran situation. Here we go. Let's listen to this, and then I'll comment on it. Let's just listen to it.
Israel's right to exist. Would you consider yourself a Zionist in that narrow definition?
What does that mean, a right to exist?
The existence of the political state of Israel as
but
it
has
existed,
a right. What does that mean?
That you think it should continue in its existence as a state right now. So you do not agree with Iran. for example?
Well, let me just ask, since you asked me the question, it's fair for me to get you to define the term so I can answer it. You've asked two questions. The first was, do you believe Israel has a right to exist? And the second question was, do you believe Israel should continue to go on as a nation state? And those are very different questions. So I often hear the phrase...
Having been created as a political entity in 1948,
does it have a right to exist? Is that what you're asking?
I don't want to get hung up on the right. Should it continue to exist? That's how I define narrowly Zionism.
Because the phrase you used was devised by the Israeli government. Of course, does it have a right to exist? And so my question to you would be, what does that mean?
Let me explain this to everybody. You guys know this, but when we go out and we're talking to folks, when somebody knows that their argument can't stand on its own two legs, this is what they do. They start saying, well, what do you mean by right? Well, what do you, like, what everybody means by a right is allowed to and should be allowed to exist. And he's trying to obfuscate. He's trying to muddle the language around this. And he's one of the guys who is saying that, that obviously that he believes that Israel is the one that got us into this conflict to begin with. The only reason that we're in here, him and Joe Kent and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Megyn Kelly and Lottie-Dottie, everybody else, says that the only reason we're dropping warheads on foreheads over in Iran is because of Israel. I don't believe that's the case, but those same people are the very ones that do question the right of Israel to exist. So he's asking a question about something that he himself is, he's not technically answering it, but they confuse the whole thing, right? It's, well, what do you mean by a right? Well, should Israel continue to exist? And most of them say no, because it's not their land to begin with. So people on the right that say Israel, pull all the aid from them, pull the aid from them. They've built this very successful, technologically advanced country, so on and so forth. Pull all the aid from them, fine. We can have that conversation. There's a lot of people that are like Israelis that are saying we should do that they want to, unburden themselves from U.S. tax dollars. Fine. I would actually be in support of that if they want to do that. And they're saying that, no, just turn it over because they believe that Israel will be destroyed in a matter of days, weeks, months, whatever, if we pull all that aid from them. But they also, Tucker Carlson has been on interviews saying, well, we need to DNA test these people because I don't think they're the people that they say that they are actually the Jewish people. And so it's confusing the question by re-asking a question of a very basic term that everybody kind of understands at this point is a way to obfuscate, a way to push the argument to the side because you know that your own argument can't stand on its own two legs, or to try and make the person that's asking the question look foolish. Should Israel be allowed to exist? Yes. Whether they are even people on his side that say, well, DNA test these people because they're not the Jews of the Bible or whatever, even though they're speaking a language from thousands of years ago, they come back worshiping in the same way, reading the same Bible, doing all the same things that every other Jew has for the past, 6,000 years or whatever it's been. DNA testing, all that aside, did they use the political process? Did they use negotiations and diplomacy to set aside a piece of land that is theirs? Yes. Did we do that here in the U.S.? Yes. Yes, we did. This is what we did. We actually conquered the land, and it's ours now, and everybody that's on it is better off. So the baseline argument for these people is just absolutely ridiculous, if you want my complete honest opinion on this. Let me look at some comments here. I'm gonna keep playing here.
Answer my question. It's a very simple question.
I don't know what your question is. Are you asking, does it have a right to exist, or do I want it to exist? Do I seek its destruction?
Fine, answer it that way.
Well, of course I don't seek its destruction. I've already said, as you know, because I said it to you, I don't want Israel to be destroyed or have to use nuclear weapons.
We've established that you are in that narrow terms of Zionist. If that's how
I'm in no sense a Zionist. I don't want any country to be destroyed at all, and I don't want people to die, particularly ones who committed no crime, because I don't believe in killing innocents, period. That's the basis of Western civilization. Eastern civilization is a whole different view. They believe in collective punishment. I don't.
So you're in no sense a Zionist?
I don't even know what that means. Why don't you define the the term, and then I'll tell you whether I am.
I've just defined it. And
What's
you
a
said
Zionist?
that a Zionist, in my narrow term, this definition is that the state of Israel, the political state of Israel, has the right to continue existing.
The right? Where does that right come from? What do you mean? These are like, I'm not being a lawyer about it. I just want to know what you're asking me.
You answer the question.
Because I don't know what you're asking me.
Let's go to the
Look, this is the thing. These aren't difficult questions to answer. Like, where do you stand on this issue? What do you think? Like, give it to us, soup to nuts, Tucker. Where do you actually stand on this? Instead of saying, well, an ally. I don't really know what those words mean. And yet he'll turn around and say that Qatar is an ally. I think I'm honestly I'm of the mindset that Tucker really doesn't know what he's talking about. He's very successful as a podcaster. He's very well read. I think he is an educated idiot. Give me some common sense, well-read, says it like it is sort of person any day over an educated Ivy League idiot. We got plenty of those. We don't need that many over here on our side. I mean, the guy's, good grief, the guy sat and talked about the pros of feudalism. I mean, Satiric Talks has got some pretty DNA. My point is, who cares about it? Like, why does that even matter? The only reason that Tucker would say DNA test these people is to try and say that there is no DNA for them to be on the land, therefore they should be kicked out. Because just like I said yesterday, he approaches the whole Zionist thing because evangelicals and replace people that Orthodox and Catholic and all these people at a theological level are very divided on this issue. I don't ever get into the nitty-gritty details of that because I ain't a theologian. But at the end of the day, the argument that's made to say and to try to prove his side of the argument is that, well, we should DNA test them, and then the whole evangelical argument that says they are God's chosen people would fall apart, and then we would have just cause to kick them out of their own country. Meanwhile, he also says that people shouldn't be kicked out of their own country, and he's like, oh, I don't know, define this for me, define a right, define a this, define a right. The only country that has ambiguity around this is Israel for them, for people on his side. It's such circular logic, and it but some of these people, this was a funny one. Pierce had to change his mind. Piers Morgan did. He's another one who's, look, he's more rage porn is really what he peddles in. But he said Trump is losing control of this war. So the White House statement, he said Israel out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East. This is him talking about Israel bombing that oil field in Iran. And then he comes over and says, so not only has Iran brazenly lied about its ballistic missile range capacity, but this means it can probably hit the UK with them. And we have zero defense against these missiles. Very worrying. Trump can't control it. He can't control this war. They're so far out of bounds. They're overstepping. They're over their skis. And now somebody help us. Somebody come help us, because what Trump was saying is true. It's wow. Okay, let me get to some more comments here. Ooh. All right. By the way, if you're new here and you haven't done so, hit all those free buttons below. It's very helpful for the channel. Helps us in the algorithm. We are growing. We're getting new people every single week. It's unlike any other situation. That's why I have such high hopes for the liberation of the Iranian people. Let's see. I still like Tatum and have high hopes for him. I'm just disappointed with certain things here. Let's see. That's why the situation is so unique. It's unlike any other situation, and that's why I have such high hopes for the liberation of the Iranian people. I do too. We were friendly with them. There was a time where we were friendly with the Iranians, and it without fail in these Islamic countries, when the radicals take over, everything gets turned on end. Because look, it's the obvious end state for radical Islam. It's destruction and chaos and madness. It's weird how long Qatar Qatar Carlson has been in the media and he still can't lie effectively. Well, he was good on a teleprompter. I think that was his thing. So Tucker was a teleprompter guy for not all the time. I mean, he would do the CNN panels, and he would be having back and forth conversations with people, but it was in very, very short snippets. When he starts getting into long form stuff, as he does now, his long form content is him sitting there trying to remember what opinion he has on something, and he flounders, which is why you can, Nathan Livingstone has done a million, Tucker flip-flopping type videos. I think I played one yesterday. I could probably play it again tonight, of him switching on opinions and terminology and all these things in very short periods of time. Because look, we can change our opinions. There's going to be times where I'm going to come out and say something and you guys are going to go, wait, what? But if I do that, I'm going to tell you I've changed my opinion on this, and here's why. There's going to be a reason behind it. There is no reason behind it for him. He just one day has one opinion, another day has another. One day he understands a word, the next day he doesn't, because it fits into whatever interview or narrative or whatever it is that he's engaging in. Let's see. It's been true there in Samaria and the land of the Jews 4,500 years. I mean, this is the thing. The biblical history has been so studied, and it's clearer than most other history that we have that exists in this world today, that people will take as the gospel, that this is true, and yet all the biblical history and how much it's been studied, yeah, we're pretty certain about that. We're pretty confident. But not to mention, a group of people left a chunk of land, and I got lambasted, by the way. My video yesterday, my comment section was my consistent followers and all that stuff, and then the anti-Israel people jumped into my comment section and they lit it ablaze. And I was going to bring up some of them tonight because I do like to highlight my haters and then talk about how stupid they sound with their $7,000 posts and all this other stuff. But I didn't. I decided not to. Why give them any clout? I just read them and chuckle. Let's see. DNA testing. This is true. We'll need a new scapegoat. Who in the world would they blame then? They're going to get up and say, I was walking to the coffee maker this morning and I stubbed my toe on a stool, and I was going to shout out, it's because of the Jew. Oh, wait, no, they're all gone now. What in the world? I don't know who to blame. Oh, that's hilarious. Let's see. Why is Russian? Yeah, see, this is another thing. Nationality, does Great Britain, the Brits have a right to exist? Does Russia or China or whoever have a right to exist? I mean, yeah, in the same way, it's a nationality. It's a group of people. They have what they have because it's expanded and contracted over time. And now do they have a right to it? Yes. Can it be taken away? And I get maybe that's the ambiguity or the where he's questioning it. Like, what do you mean by a right? Well, do they have a right to their ancestral homeland? Yeah, they do. Can it be taken? Yes. But there's going to be people there to take it back, to try and take it back, because that's what people fight for. They fight for ancestral homeland. Sometimes it's for expansion, and sometimes it's, conquest for conquest's sake. It's for resources. There's various reasons why land expands and contracts. Great Britain they were colonizing the world, right? The Genghis Khan was colonizing, and Alexander the Great. All these societies have expanded and contracted, but around their ancestral homeland, for the most part, they kind of come back to that. And there's some people that like when the Ottoman Empire was split up, there's people that got siphoned out of that, and that's created regional conflicts and all this. But they were able to. They had no land. The Jews had no land. They used diplomacy and, leveraged politics and other things to try and get a homeland. They got a homeland. It's in the same place where they spoke the same language, 4,500 years ago or whatever it was. They were able to negotiate for it. They got it. They are there now and have been since 1948. A lot of people have tried to take it away. they've been unsuccessful, and here we are today. So the whole, I think it's just a silly argument that people are trying to make in the first place. DNA tests those people. Well, what does it matter? They're a group of people that speak the same language. They worship the same God, and they're there now. So what does DNA testing have to do with it anyways? Plus, they were people that were dispersed all around the world for millennia, and they were in Europe and other places. There's merging of DNA and all of that. Is there ancestral DNA? Yeah, people have studied this, by the way. It's just such a stupid. Sorry. Yes, Bronson he's got a really great channel. Yep. Tucker acts like he does. The face like a Labrador. You know, that confused look all the time. Let's see. I disagree. His Nippo upbringing makes him think he knows exactly what he's doing. It's a power-hungry proxy and wants to attach. Oh, tell me what you really think, Smiles. My goodness. Yeah, DNA is the only thing that matters to anti-Semites. That's pretty staunch. Nick Fuentes, from what I've seen of him, is he's kind of softened his stance on a lot of things. I think he's doing that out of necessity, which, to be quite honest, makes me trust him even less. He was pretty confident about his positions for a very long time. And when you're that confident and then you kind of flip on a dime, I'm hesitant to trust people that change that much without significant explanation. Because, when there's things that I will tell you, you guys know this, if you've watched me over the past, year or so, there's things where I will tell you, I don't exactly know what I think about this. Here's how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it this way. I'm looking at it that way. And I just don't know. But I think this is it. And I'll give you my opinion. A lot of these people come out with so much confidence on anything and everything. And then they flip the script, but there's never an explanation. It's just, and that's why people accused Nick Fuentes, myself included, of being a plant of some sort, or that he was, a grifter or whatever. Because these are big ticket items that we're talking about here, and to change your opinion at the drop of a hat, the snap of a finger, it's a little weird, I think. The podcast prostitutes would let a new kid as they would. That's it. MTX nailed it right here. That's it. Let's see. Yeah, Milk Bar, Nathan Livingstone. I don't even know, what does he have on his channel? Let's see. Milk Bar, Nathan Livingstone. Let me see how many he's got. It's only I think the last time I looked, it was Nathan Livingstone, Milk Bar TV. I mean, he's only got 100,000 subscribers, which over on X. I don't know what he's got on YouTube. Honestly, I really just follow him on X. That's the only place I really watch him. But same comedy playbook, different nation. There you go. Thanks. First it was Russia. Now it's Israel. Somebody else has to be to blame all the time. Yep. Let's see. Oh boy, you guys have been burning up the comment section tonight. This is great. There you go. Yeah. It's so complicated. This is actually this is a short but perfect comment that I'm having a hard time deciphering the truth. Yes. Because we can't, we're having debates, or like I get on this show and I'm talking about other commentators and people who I feel like are deceiving the American people, and that pisses me off. And so I feel like I need to say something about it. I'm saying something about it. But this doesn't mean, like, it looks like you take a staunch Trump is right all the time, MAGA, 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 and that's it sort of approach. But that can't be it, because we also have inherent distrust in the federal government. So we can't trust the federal government fully. We're trusting it a bit more under Donald Trump, but we still have to question it. But we're in a world that is either you're with us or against us 100%. So it is really hard to decipher what is and is not true. That's it. And you're not alone in that, by the way. Everybody is having that problem. And even myself, I'm sitting here talking to people about it, and I want to be as honest and truthful as I possibly can. The resources that I have access to are, generally speaking, the same that everybody else has. And it's like a lie. What is it they say, that a lie makes its way around the world before the truth has time to put its pants on? And the social media space just expands that even more. It makes it inflames it even more. So yeah, I get it. Like, it's true. We're all trying to do the same thing. You're in the right place. So make sure, if you haven't done it, hit all those free buttons below, because we're over here trying to find the truth. Let's see. You love our comments, Jared. I do. I like your all's comments. I could be wrong, though, since I don't watch either all that much. Okay, Dax. I think Nick says what's on his mind, but I'll tell you the thing that turned me off about Nick Fuentes, when people start showing a little bit of favoritism towards socialism, or if any of the talking points start touching on something that equates to leftism, I'm generally like shut off from that altogether. And when he said that the future of first off, he said we should vote Democrat. We should just can Trump and MAGA and all that because they betrayed us. He's been in a little over a year, and they haven't gotten anything and everything that the Groypers want and all of that. So since we haven't gotten anything and everything in the exact way, time, manner, and whatever that they wanted, then we should just go ahead and turn on the entire movement. That's what he says. And then he says the Republicans need to cave on some things like the free market and, paying for college and free health care. And the left needs to cave on the border. When he basically his whole, the framework for all of that equates to some form of socialism, increased government spending, so on and so forth, which makes sense because he's of the younger generation that is battling the home ownership problem. They can't buy a home. They're under hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. Healthcare is incredibly expensive. And I know that healthcare is expensive because I'm self-employed, so I have to pay for my own healthcare. And it ain't cheap. It's very expensive. So it stands to reason that he was brought up in the same indoctrination system that other leftists are. He's latched on to America first. He says that he loves America and doesn't hate America. Yet a lot of his ideology is it aligns with leftism. And that's a non-starter for me, because leftism is we've always caved as a country. We've always caved to the left. That's what got us a social safety net that's being wildly abused. That's what got these, what are massive government spending and this deficit spending that's absolutely out of control, and inflation and all of these things. It's always because we are caving to the left. His prescription is let's cave a little more to the left. And now I can't get on board with that. So he might think that. He might be giving you his honest opinion. I don't know. But they're really, really, really bad opinions. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I just didn't ramble in circles. But yeah, well, and Smiles dropped an F-bomb in there, so I'm not going to put it up on the screen. But He's a hypocrite and a racist, claims to be white first, but supports the very Islamic devils who want to kill all the white people. He loves clerical power and authoritarianism. That's the other part of it. He does like authoritarianism. He kind of lends himself to authoritarianism. And then he is he's preferential towards white people. Let's just put it that way. Let's see. I can see why people are confused, but if you pray for discernment and lean on God's wisdom, you won't be led astray. Empirical evidence always wins. Leftists and groypers, third world hacks, are liars. There you go. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. Like it takes prayer and discernment. Try to figure out, Lord, let me know what in the world is going on in this crazy, crazy place. CNN Nick. That's good. I like that. CNN Nick. Love Stalin. That's great. So far, Trump has been a massive disappointment for anyone who values common decency. Nick, yeah. There you go. So Trump has been a massive disappointment. All right. Always like to highlight a hater here and there. He's been a massive disappointment for anyone who values common decency. You're going to need to elaborate. Yeah, like there's ways that he has disappointed us. I'm not going to say that he's done everything right. There you go. Pius Weber, break up huge banks like BlackRock. They are for, BlackRock. I've done several videos on State Street, BlackRock, and Vanguard. There was actually in East Tennessee, there was a real estate agency that was sold, and it was bought by a company. I can't remember now because it's been about a year or so, but that real estate company, they purchased the largest, I think it was the largest realtor agency in the state of Tennessee. And the company, I looked at who they were, and again, I cannot remember what the name of the company was. And I looked at the investors for that company. The top three investors for that company were State Street, BlackRock, and Vanguard. And those three companies act as one, and they have, I don't even know their current numbers now, but probably around $20 to $30 trillion under management. And they were the ones coming into neighborhoods and buying entire neighborhoods, offering all cash purchases with no inspections, and pricing the average Americans out of homes. So I agree. They are absolutely predatory. Those banks are. And they're the ones that have driven up the home costs. So yeah, I don't disagree with you at all on that one, Pius Vapor. Oh, it was gross. Let's see. Oh, okay. Here we go. Yeah, I said that at the start of the show that I think that was the wrong way to say it. But now we're going to go down the files. Okay, you realize this has been debunked 10 ways from Sunday, and there's only 6 ways from Sunday. Trump in the files has been debunked. Stop buying into that nonsense. Goodness gracious, my friend, please stop buying into social media, like the quick snippets that make you, that fuel your hate for Donald Trump. That ain't going to help you. It's been debunked over and over again. Bless your heart. You can disagree with him, by the way. If there's, again, I say, what he said about Robert Mueller was bad. He shouldn't have said that. But please don't buy into those headlines. You can be smarter than that. It infuriates me when people get duped by that sort of thing. Grace for Trump's words from there. Trump was the very first person, by the way, and this has been brought up by the initial Epstein investigation, said Trump was the only person who responded back to the investigators and to the lawyers who were trying to prosecute this crime, saying that he helped provide them. He was basically working to provide them evidence against Jeffrey Epstein. There has been zero evidence inside of the Epstein files that linked Donald Trump to any nefarious activity related to Jeffrey Epstein. Zero. There was one statement made, and that person retracted the statement later on in the file, saying that admitting that they lied about it. So this is why, by the way, this is why folks that have succumbed to the same issue that you have succumbed to, is that everybody wanted the list released. The left wanted it released in hopes of seeing Donald Trump's name in it. Not implicated in anything, just in it. And when people on the right were saying, the Epstein list, release the Epstein list, all of it, unredacted, release all of it, they wanted the same thing. I just need the name in there so I can say that it's in there. Even though he's not implicated in anything, I can still say Trump was in the Epstein files. And that's exactly what you're doing here. If there had been evidence that Trump had done something nefarious, first off, Biden had all this. His administration had all this. All the deep state actors that were running his actual administration would have used it against Donald Trump. No questions asked. The politicized FBI would have slung it, leaked it all over the internet. So you can bring up issues that you have with Donald Trump, but this has been gone over with a fine-tooth comb, and there is nothing there. Nothing there other than people saying he's in it. Like you're doing. So criticize him all you want. You have every right to do that. But don't buy into this stupidity, please. Fine, you can. Look, I'm glad that we're having this conversation, actually. Nice M10K. I don't know exactly how that works out phonetically, but you can have all the reasons that you want. I have some issues with of things Donald Trump has done. I'm not pure MAGA. I am pure MAGA, but I'm not going to sit here and say that Donald Trump has some flawless reputation or that he's running the perfect flawless presidency. That's never going to happen, ever. Even if my guy's in or your guy's in, it will never happen. Now, people on the left, I'm going to assume that you're on the left. So I'm sorry if you're not a lefty, but I'm going to assume you're on the left. You guys are very consistent in saying that Joe Biden was the perfect president. He did everything right, even though he wasn't actually running the Oval Office. He wasn't running his actual staff. So you guys are very consistent on the left. Kudos to you all for that. Kudos to you all for that. We aren't. We're a big tent, and honestly, we're kind of free thinkers, and we're going to have varying opinions. Let's see. I was sad at the same time that cheered for Charlie Kirk. There's some consensus. There you go. Common ground. He could have, and he didn't. And you don't, and who? Me? Have a bias? Joe Biden was definitely not a great president. Last year's president, he didn't even know where he was. I'm an independent. Okay. All right. You're offering me clarification. That's good. Of course I have biases. Everybody does. Everybody does. But what kind of bias do you mean? I'm for what's right, wrong, true, false. That's where I draw the line. I'm a constitutional conservative. So yeah, there's a lot of things. Deficit spending, I can't stand it. The pork in all of our spending bills, I can't stand it. We were talking before about the banks that are taking advantage of the American citizens. I can't stand that. I've got a lot of biases, a lot of opinions, but no. What I'm saying is that the left walks lockstep. So I'm going to clarify, Smiles. The left, when the Democrat Party says jump, everybody says how high. And when they say these are your talking points, they can spin a yarn and they can get everybody lockstepped on certain talking points, and they run with it mindlessly. The left does. They run with it. So in that way, that's what I'm saying, is they're consistent. I'm not saying that their policies are atrocious. Let's see. I'm more MAGA than MAGA. Junior's, he's full bore. I'm MAGA too. I want to make sure I'm very clear. I hope I'm not dilly-dallying around my responses here or talking over myself. I am MAGA, but I'm also leaving it open to criticize Donald Trump because we have to say this was a bad decision whenever he makes one. Okay, case in point, the SAVE bill should stand alone. Stop cramming numbers. Bingo. Canna Michelle. Good to see you back, Canna Michelle. 100%. I think I've told you guys this, if you're new, if you're a long-term watcher of this channel. But when it came to the first COVID spending bill, that was actually the triggering event for me to start making videos. And I read through a lot of it. I couldn't read all of it because a lot of it's legalese. And I was looking at the pork that they were throwing in there, and I was fuming because of the pork that was in the spending bill. And that's how we get our deficits. There's hidden costs and things that are thrown out there to special interests and nonprofits. I looked at the nonprofits at the border under Joe Biden. Some of them, Christian nonprofits too, were tripling in size under the Biden administration, from tens of millions of dollars to hundreds of millions of dollars being pumped into nonprofits, all going to smuggle other humans into the United States for cheap labor and votes. And that was the Democrat Party that was doing that. So yeah, we need to vote on individual bills. It makes Congress's job painful and slow, and that's okay with me. Just my thought. Each bill should stand alone. Yeah, these omnibus spending bills are just trash. I looked at one, guys, and it said that this was, again, back during COVID, the first run of the COVID bill. And it said that we were going to provide the money to keep the union pension fund solvent at 80%, funded at 80% for 20 years. I was like, excuse me? This isn't just a hurry, let's keep small businesses from shutting down. This was long-term investment of taxpayer dollars into unions. By the way, the very unions that pump billions of dollars, have pumped billions of dollars into presidential campaigns, Democrat presidential campaigns. This is good stuff, Pious Vapor. I like that. Trump haters never fear. Trump is a once-in-a-lifetime leader. We will probably never see another void of establishment politics. Yep. Stuffed suits that only consider filling their pockets will be back. I like that. We got to strike while the iron's hot. Let the man cook. Let the man do his thing. Exactly. It's supposed to be slow. That's how it was designed. So that we couldn't get all you think about every bill, every law that's passed, in some way, shape, form, or fashion is stripping some right from someone. It's taking more money from someone, from we the people. So yeah, the omnibus spending stuff is just, and look, guys, the kids, I think about future generations. The average taxpayer right now, owes $350,000 to the federal government. You're having, who was it that was saying they were having a youngster? I don't mean to, was it Smiles? I think you said you were having a youngster. Whoever it was, your youngster is going to be born, if they're a taxpayer, which I'm going to assume they will because they're being raised right because you're watching Continue Freedom and you care about this country. But that that kid is going to owe $350,000 to the federal government. The average American owes over $100,000. But if that doesn't tell you the disparity between people, those of us paying taxes and other people that are just leeching off the system, that's another problem. So, yeah. Let's see. Hey, Jared, I'm sorry I'm late. I know it's almost over. Busy day. It's all good, man. I'm glad you made it. Better late than never. Ben the Mod King. Oh, you're right. It has. I've gone well past my usual hour, but I'm enjoying the content. I'm enjoying the conversation. I was spiraling into, let's see. Oh, this is interesting. I was getting to a point where spiraling into, I woke up and realized Trump's record and the fact he has every judge and legislator at his neck gives him the right. Okay. So you were spiraling towards groiperism. It's good you recovered. You know, you didn't cross the event horizon on that one. So good job to you on that. You know, there's everybody's, because we've all got frustrations, and you know, some people they're really good at ginning us up emotionally, and I mean, I've had over emotional. I've done commentary where I've been overly, I guess I want to say emotional, but something really ticks me off, and then I've done shows probably a year or two ago where it was just me ranting and raving about something, and maybe it sounded convincing, and I don't know, it's easy to fall into those traps. Mod King is right. That's right. He mods on Jay Witt, the great Jay Witt, over on his channel, on my channel. He's all over the place. Do you do Gary's as well? You do, let's see. Trump has a record that gives him room for grace. The left wants us open to terrorism attacks by defunding DHS, calling for our debt. If that doesn't tell you the left hates America, I don't know what will. Yeah. This is, look, the whole Iran conflict, this is a legit concern we have right now. We've already had multiple terrorist attacks in the United States. The shootings that have taken place in the United States are people that came across the southern border. Sarah Adams, what was her code name? Superbad, the CIA analyst. She has already said that the first wave, she believes, will be 1,000 people mobilized here in the U.S. to conduct some sort of a terrorist attack. They left it, opening the southern border wasn't just the people in bonnets coming across with their kids, you know, alms for the poor. No, military-aged males. We played the videos on this channel. Other channels have played it. Military-aged males coming across our southern border, ideologically driven by radical Islam, a lot of them, and they, look, all it takes is for them to get a cell phone call, a text, a WhatsApp message, and next thing you know, they're wreaking havoc on American citizens. So people willing to open the borders up to that, yeah, they don't have our best interest in mind. Okay, so Jason, Gary, Bronson, and here. Wow. It's like having another job, Ben. My goodness, man. You do a great job at it, though. Let's see. I think about a group of people isn't helpful either. I think what generalizations am I making? I would love to know. I'll wait on this one because I want to know what generalizations I'm making. Let's see. Oh, I love that post. That is so great. I also am homeschooling my kids to be educated in God and country first. I'm the biggest threat to the left. I birth armies. Oh, that's awesome. I'm very pro-secure border, but also for comprehensive immigration reform, which neither party has taken seriously. Well, that's because I would completely disagree with this. So you're pro-secured border, which is good. We've got common ground on that one. But comprehensive immigration reform, no. We say this is kind of because it sounds nice that we need to make it easier. The process needs to be shortened. I disagree. I think that it should be a 5-year minimum. We could maybe debate 3 years, but comprehensive. If we do the type of reform that's needed for immigration, it would actually take longer for people to come in. It's not a right to come to the United States. It is absolutely a privilege. And I want people to be vetted to the nth degree. I'm talking, I want your entire history of who you are as a person before you come into this country, because we have unique threats around the world that we need to be wary of. And it's a privilege to come to this country. It's a beautiful thing if you go through the process. But if you wait 5 years, your buy-in, your drive to make it successful when you do get here is going to be significantly more. That's why the people that come across the border are straight up on they go straight onto the welfare system. The left is helping them leech taxpayer dollars. They have zero buy-in. They don't assimilate. They don't care about what happens in this country. They just go live in their own neighborhood. No. You come here, you're going to have buy-in. Oh, we got a super chat. Thank you, Jay Witt. I appreciate you, man. Excellent sane Christian male perspective. Please keep at it, and let's cam up soon. Let's do it, brother. I'm all about it. I had a great time on your channel last time. Guys, be sure to go and check out Jay Witt's podcast. He does awesome work. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you very much. I will stay at it. I will absolutely stay at it. I'm team 5 year. but if that adds value, I'm team 4 years, 8 months. You're with me then. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, like longing to come to the United States, and they say, I cannot wait until my citizenship gets approved. I'm going to learn about everything in the United States. And they know the history better than a lot of Americans do. You're 100% right. And they finally get here and they say, I've got the golden ticket. I've got my opportunity. I'm going to make the best of this. And they actually make really great citizens. And they don't take it for granted because they had to strive to get here. Talk to all the immigrants that have done that have gone through the painful process of becoming a citizen. Yeah. Well, yes, of course, there needs to be a process, but we need more immigration judges. Yeah, but only if we need to shorten the process. If your goal is to shorten the process, then I suppose we do. We need more if we want more immigration judges, we need more immigration judges working on deportations, not bringing people in. So sure, if you want to make that argument that if we need support, like legal support for deportations, 100%, I would absolutely be on board with that. For bringing people into this country, it needs to be cut off for a while. You know what I'm saying? We've brought in tens of millions of people. It reads no vacancy right now. We ain't got room. And we don't have the money because every one of them is getting linked up with a nonprofit who's helping them get into the system to start collecting taxpayer dollars to leech off the American people. And your kids are going to have to pay the government $350,000 in some way, shape, form, or fashion to make up for the irresponsible spending thus far. Why would we bring more people in who are contributing to that debt? 0 cents. Makes 0 sense. I have a green card. They verify me a lot. One thing that I was told, government assistance is for Americans. There you go. See, okay, this is interesting. So you have a green card. They verify you. Background checks and all those things are done for people. And they say government assistance is for Americans. Yet illegal immigrants who do it the wrong way, they get the money. And the nonprofits help them get tapped into the same people that are doing the fraud in Minneapolis and all that. All these nefarious entities out there who are defrauding the American people. So the people who do it right are the ones that suffer. And meanwhile, they're driving BMWs when they're illegal immigrants. I'm not sure we need more people here, and we're not taking care. Okay, great. Good point. Good point. We aren't taking care of the people here. We need to get rid of the ones that are costing us money, but we need to do a better job of taking care of the American citizens. That's our priority. The left, they like to prioritize illegal immigrants, and they play on the soft hearts of their fellow leftists because it's a very emotional party. It's a very, very emotional political party. And they need them for the votes. And Yeah, and for redistricting. When the next census comes around, keep in mind, everybody, the census when it's back in play, it's not about American citizens. It's about people in general. So if they can show that they have a massive number of people in some strategic area, redistricting will happen, and then the whole power dynamic shifts. Let's see. Process is painful where I have to wait a few years. Health checks, vaccines, criminal history. That's awesome. We do need to absolutely prioritize American citizens first and foremost. There you go. See, we can find common ground. We can find common ground. Let's see. Triple J threat. I have Jared, Jason from and Jay from the story box. There you go. Let's see. Crazy how you go through all that, and they take better care of the ones that come here the wrong way, and you did the right thing. There you go. Getting a little support out there. That's good. Tanashi Peter was on my show. He's an immigrant. It took his family 12 years. What? Wow. Wait, Tanashi Peter. I didn't see that one today. Who is Tanashi Peter? Let me look at that. Look that up. Tanashi Peter. I know you've. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know him. Wow, I didn't realize he was an immigrant. So this is Tanashi Peter. This is the one, right? Jason. Yeah, I've actually seen his content. He's very, very good. He's very good. I didn't realize he was an immigrant, though. I don't know how I missed that one. And I don't watch him all the time, but I have seen quite a bit of his content. Let's see. Okay, so you didn't know it either. Yeah, that's crazy. But 12 years. And, it's the buy-in. That's it. It's all the buy-in. Let's see. Megan Smelly. Did you ask him about this, Jason? Did you ask him when he was on your podcast? I would be interested to know what he says about it. If he answered that question, I'm going to go, I'll probably still go watch your podcast anyway, but I'll go check that one out. Yep, that's him. Okay. I am offended. Let's see what. Oh. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I had to air that up here. All right, guys, I have come to the end of my comments, and as you all know me, I'm typically a 1 hour guy. I go an hour and a half, but this is great. I'm so appreciative for all the comments, for all the engagement. This has been fantastic. He's pro 5. Okay, so he's pro 5 years. All right, talking about Tanashi Peter, sorry. Took him 12 years, and he's for at least a 5-year wait. I think it's good. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I get that. If somebody if it's value added to the United States, my big thing about all the immigration in general is vetting. I just want a lot of vetting, and it's hard to do. There's certain countries who are just going to be automatically disqualified because you can't vet their background. If you're from, I don't know, rural part of Senegal, or you're from, some rural China, you probably could, but you're from Kazakhstan or something. You might not have. It might not be as easy to vet people from these rural parts of the world. And if you can't, then you just can't come to the United States. Like, sorry, you're out. You're absolutely out. So yeah, that's a big one for me. And then of course value added, but people have to prove that. So Okay, here we go. We're finding common ground here. 5 years is reasonable. Yeah, I would agree. Okay, guys. I appreciate you all. Y'all are awesome. If you haven't done so, please feel free to hit all the free buttons below. It really helps the channel out. We're growing slowly but surely. We're making waves out here on YouTube. Go follow me on X as well. So on X, Rumble, and YouTube, those are my platforms. You can follow me on Instagram. I post stuff over there every now and then. I'm at Continue Freedom everywhere. I appreciate you guys. God bless you. God bless America. And you know what? I'll see you in the next video. Have a great night. Let's see. Oh, let's see if I got any last minute comments here. Like the video, subscribe. Here we go. Ben the Mod King. Got some green hearts from Jay Witt. Yes, Jared, too many sleepers are in America. Yeah, there we go. No more anchor babies. Oh, that was one. I didn't even touch on that one. Fantastic. A strong chat tells you your channel is going to be successful or not. No chat happening. That's not good. There you go. We got a great chat. I got some great people here. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful night. Enjoy your Sunday. And I may be doing a Sunday special tomorrow. I shouldn't have said anything because I might not be able to, but we'll see. We'll see. That's going to become a thing here in the near future. God bless you guys and have a great night. See you in the next one.